Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is to wherever you're at. 91 Cav GT here. For those that don't know, a couple of years ago I got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And so I want to discuss my personal journey, what it's been like, how it's been, symptoms, how it affects you. And for those that are looking at possibly being diagnosed, it's not the end. So my story started in 2015. That's when the first symptoms started rearing their ugly head. But I didn't know what they were. My daughter was born in 2015, and the first symptoms, which once again didn't know where they were coming from, what it was all about. The first symptoms were my sense of smell were just not very good at all, which at the time ended up being very beneficial. Newborn baby comes with dirty diapers and spit up. And with my lack of a sense of smell, I got tasked with cleaning all that up, which actually worked out really good. It really did. And about a year later, in 2016, I would occasionally have my left foot cramp up on me. It would just curl up, my toes would curl up on me, and I would try apple cider vinegar. I even tried pickle juice at one time, tried bananas, tried all the typical stuff that you do to try whenever you're getting muscle cramps, to try to release those, and nothing would work. Well, unbeknownst to me at the time, that was the beginning stages of dystonia, an involuntary muscle contraction. So time went on, things kept going, and the dystonia got worse. My sense of smell got worse. And as time went on, the first tremor that I actually had was in late 2019, early 2020. I remember driving back from work. It was a rough day, and halfway back, just driving my car, and my left arm, we just had the window down, just kind of hanging out the door, and I noticed my left hand just kind of shaking a little bit, and I didn't understand why. Now, once again, had no clue that all of this was the early stages of Parkinson's. Now, as 2020 went on, dystonia got worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point where I remember counting in a 2-month period, there were 4 days when my foot did not cramp up for hours at a time. 4 days in a 2-month period. And I had looked online trying to figure out what this is, what it is. I already had a neurologist that he didn't think it was related to my neuropathy or anything like that. So I contacted a movement disorder center here in Texas. And unfortunately, it was a good 6-7 month wait just to get in. So finally got in, got to see the movement disorder doctor, and she checked me out, and she diagnosed me as Parkinsonism, some form of Parkinson's, dopa responsive dystonia, because the dystonia that I had at the time would come into play late in the evening, primarily. So she put me on Cinnamate, carbidopa, levodopa. Immediate reduction in the dystonia symptoms. Huge reduction. It was awesome. So, went about my life. Saw a different doctor at the place, and she agreed. Some kind of Parkinsonism. So they sent me to get a brain scan, a DAT scan, done. And the brain scan came back, and the person that read the DAT scan said, yes, positive for Parkinson's. I then went and saw another doctor at the Movement Disorder Center, and he said, no, not Parkinson's. No. You don't have symptoms corresponding to what I usually see. You don't have Parkinson's. Okay. Well, from what I'm learning, and from what I have learned, is Parkinson's affects everybody a little bit different. Some people, it affects them all the same. And then other people, there's just slight things that pop up. There's a family friend that got diagnosed with Parkinson's. The only symptom that he had is his lip here would kind of droop down. And that was it. That was his only symptom. But he went and got a DAT scan, and sure enough, it came back as positive. He had Parkinson's. So we moved, and I got a different doctor and brought all the information to him. And he also gave me a positive diagnosis of Parkinson's. So that's now 3 doctors. And unfortunately, with that last one, that was the final straw that made it so I had to stop working. And the reason why is because I had a CDL, commercial driver's license. And you cannot have a CDL, this is federal law, if you've got Parkinson's. It doesn't matter what stage it is, it does not matter. You cannot have a CDL with Parkinson's. So I had to stop. And what I soon found out as soon as I stopped working is my symptoms greatly decreased. Come to find out, the stress of the job that I had would trigger the Parkinson's symptoms. The more stress I was under, the worse the symptoms were. There was one point where I was extremely stressed due to a situation that was completely outside of my control. And the tremors got so bad, I could not write. I had to fill out paperwork to contest what was going on in my life at the time, and I couldn't do it. I could not write. I had to have my wife write for me. And thank God I did have her around. She helped me out tremendously, and she has been so supportive through all of this. People, if you're early in your diagnosis, or if you think it might be Parkinson's, for those family that are watching this, having a supportive family member makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. It really does. Before you have that diagnosis of Parkinson's, you have all of these symptoms that you can't explain. And it's really difficult to explain to other people. How do you explain to other people that you can't remember what they're telling you? How can you explain to other people that if you get stressed, you shut down? You can't. Most people are going to think, oh, you just don't want to work. That's not the case. And it is so frustrating. But having that support system at home makes all the difference. It really and truly does. So I had to stop working. That was very hard for me. That was very, very hard for me. Seeing the symptoms still progressing, but knowing now that I could not be the breadwinner of the household. That was a hard pill to swallow, especially for a guy. That was a very hard pill to swallow. So what I ended up doing is I ended up taking on the role of stay-at-home dad, Mr. Mom. And it is a role that I have embraced. Now I can take my daughter to doctor appointments. I can be there whenever she needs me. And that has been very, very beneficial. I can do laundry. I can clean the house. I can free up my wife now that she is the primary breadwinner. And it gives me direction and it gives her a break. And it has been a godsend. It really has. As her job has gotten more and more stressful, I've been able to be here to help support her, to return that favor that she did for me all those years of being supportive and not knowing what was going on. Now, the symptoms are still progressing. I have good days and I have bad days. I get out there and I volunteer. Now, unfortunately, with the dystonia, that's my biggest problem that I have right now, is the dystonia and the memory loss. But even with the dystonia, I get out and I volunteer. I try to make sure that my life has purpose. Dystonia has me, but I don't have dystonia. Parkinson's has me. I don't have Parkinson's. Or, let's see, that's another thing with Parkinson's. I get things mixed up. I've got Parkinson's. Parkinson's doesn't have me. And I'm not going to edit this out. I want to keep this in here. It's a symptom of the Parkinson's. I do get my words mixed up sometimes, and that has gotten worse. Sometimes whenever I'm talking to people, I have to stop, slow down, and really think about what I'm trying to say. And a lot of times what I say isn't really what I meant. It comes out backwards and twisted. It's just another symptom of Parkinson's. And then there's symptoms of the medication. Now, this really, really concerned me. The memory loss was getting really, really bad. And I was starting to see things. I was starting to have hallucinations, is what they call them. Now, to me, I didn't think they were hallucinations. I really thought I saw something. And what it was is, out of the corner of my eye, I would occasionally see something that was about the size of a rat or so. It was always dark in color, and it was always scurrying off. And just as I turned to look at it, it's gone. But I could occasionally see it out of the corner of my eye. Now, it didn't happen all the time. Sometimes it happened twice a day. Sometimes it would only happen once a week. But it got to be where it was so frequent that I knew something was going on. But I was scared to talk to my doctor about it. I really was. Because I didn't want this. I was concerned that this was a progression of the Parkinson's. That it was progressing really, really fast. Well, come to find out, I did go talk to my doctor about it. And come to find out, he said, no, it is a symptom of, it is a side effect of the medication, the carbidopa-levodopa. He had me decrease how much I was taking, and it actually helped my memory. My memory is better. Now, it's still not great, but it's a lot better than what it was. I also am not seeing those hallucinations anymore. So it was not the Parkinson's that was progressing. It was actually the medication that I was taking to treat the Parkinson's. Go figure. So if you are early in your diagnosis, or you haven't been diagnosed yet, but you think, I might have this, don't be afraid to talk to the doctor. Let the doctor know what's going on. It's not always the worst case that you think it is. I was diagnosed 2 years ago, in 2021, early summer. And I have seen a slight progression in the Parkinson's, And I always will see a progression in the Parkinson's. But it helps when you're active. It helps not to just sit at home and throw a pity party. Get out there and do something. Even if it's just walking around the house, don't just give up. Do not give up. Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in the late 1990s. Okay, over 25 years ago, he was diagnosed. And he's still alive today. Now, granted, his symptoms have gotten bad enough where he doesn't really get out very much anymore. He doesn't really do a whole lot anymore. But that's 25 years. 25 years. Parkinson's is not a death sentence. It's not. But if you give up, if you stop fighting, that is a death sentence. Get up and do something. Get up and go. I treat Parkinson's now as a blessing. I know that sounds really twisted. Really twisted. But here's the explanation to that. I now use Parkinson's as an opportunity to talk to people, to inform people, and to not only talk to them about Parkinson's, but also talk to them about God. And it has allowed me to talk to people that I otherwise would never have talked to. It is not a death sentence. God has a plan for all of us, including you. And yes, I am talking to you. Right there, you. Don't shake your head no. Don't think, oh no, he's not talking to me. No, I am. I am talking to you. You have a mission from God. You might not know what it is just yet, but your work is not done yet. God has a plan for every single one of us, regardless of the stage that you're at, regardless of the disease, regardless of your addiction. God has a plan for you, and it's great, and it's amazing. And once you get out of your comfort zone, once you get off that couch, once you stop throwing a pity party, once you stop relying on that addiction to get you by every day, that's when those doors start opening. That's when relationships start with other people. That's when God really comes into your life and starts working. But it takes you to take that first step. Take that leap of faith. I know it's really cliche, but when you're walking along and you turn around and you see that single set of footprints in the sand, it's not because you're alone. It's because God is carrying you. He has a plan for all of us. He loves you. He loves me. He loves all of us. It does not matter what you have done in the past. It does not matter how you have treated other people. It does not matter what you have done. God still loves you. I love you. And other people out there, somewhere, loves you that you don't even know. That's my story. The Parkinson's is progressing, and it's going to. And that's okay. I'm still getting out. I'm still trying to do how I can. It's not easy. There are days that it's tough. There are days that I hurt. really, really, really bad with the dystonia. There are days that I get down, that I'm concerned that I might not be able to do the things that I do right now with my daughter. I might not be able to go and horseplay with her someday. I might not be able to carry her. And yeah, that might happen. But if you sit and sulk and think about that and focus on that, then guess what? You never will experience that. Get out and try. Get out and do. And most importantly, thank God. Thank God for the time that we have. Thank God for the relationships, for the blessings. Parkinson's is a blessing to me. And I'm okay with that. Not everybody will be. So, that's my story. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good day. And we'll talk to you next time.